Let's go to Nick Wright first things first, standing by, joining us. Special time today, 2 Eastern. Well, look at this. Time out, J-Mac. Look at this outfit. I mean, literally, you should be in like John Wick movie or something. I mean, well, who dresses this nice? It's incredible.
That's a hair joke, I think, the John Wick thing.
No, it's not.
That's first of all.
Okay.
Second of all, Colin, I don't know if you still have me or not. There we go. There, now I can see you again. I lost you for a second. I'm not sure if you have my audio. I hope you do.
I do.
I appreciate you having me on. That seemed like a bit of a halfway invite for J-Mac. He said, "Are you inviting me?" And you said, "I can invite you," not "yes, I'm inviting you." So, J-Mac, if I were you, I would try to get that locked down because Colin can be a slippery fella. But it's good to see you guys again.
Okay, so I want to get into the Bradley Beal thing. I think sometimes I was talking to Emmanuel Ochoa yesterday about this. I said, just get me smart veteran guys who can play. I'll figure the fit out later. Miami didn't fit. Hey, Bosch, go be a perimeter guy. Nobody liked Mario Chalmers. They had no size. They had a bunch of smart dudes, and they figured out LeBron, D-Wade, Battier, Haslam. They figured out how to make it work. I know Phoenix now has 3 shooters. Trade DeAndre Ayton, get some size, get some defenders. I like the move because I think it's a talent league. It's not always a perfect fit league. Your thoughts?
I agree with you on you can't fully evaluate this until you see what the Ayton trade is, as I think there will be an Ayton trade. But I'm surprised you initially liked it because you said, and I agreed with you last week, that if you remove LeBron James, super team's success rate is not super high. And the ones that have worked, like the big 3 in Boston, they all did 3 very distinct things. I'm skeptical of this for a number of reasons. One is you are adding another player who I understand he's just going to be 30, but it's kind of an older 30 because he came in the league at 19. He had been incredibly durable, but then the last 3 seasons he has not been. So another player with injury concerns, another player whose biggest skill set is the skill set of your 2 other best players, and you are removing depth and you are removing defense. I think you could have taken Chris Paul and traded him for lesser pieces that would have made you a better team. If the goal is to get through Denver, I don't know how this gets you closer. What I do know is because of the new CBA, this is now your team. You, aside from the Ayton move, which could happen, obviously. Once you do or don't on Ayton, whatever team you go into this year with is going to be your team for the rest of Kevin Durant's time there, and I don't think it's good enough. I think they're good. I think they're probably the 5th or 6th best team in the league. I don't think it's good enough. I don't think it's the right idea, and the new owner there, I give him credit for caring and wanting to spend money. But in 5 months of ownership, he has traded for Kevin Durant. He has almost fought the 2-time MVP. He has installed Isaiah Thomas as a shadow GM. He has fired the head coach, and now he's traded for Bradley Beal. It's a lot of upheaval in a very short time for Ishbia as the new owner.
So, I think we both acknowledge Kevin Durant is great. I almost feel like Phil Mickelson got compared to Tiger, but they're 2 very different people. It just so happens their primes lined up. I think sometimes we look at Durant and we unfairly compare him to LeBron, and everybody shrinks with LeBron. Durant's just a remarkable player who's made one egregious decision in his life to leave Steph for Kyrie. Other than that, he's a hell of a player, and I like him. Do you look at this Phoenix team and go, okay, what's the level of pressure you think is on KD? What are reasonable expectations?
Well, listen, Durant has accomplished everything one can accomplish in this league, with the exception of what he went to Brooklyn to accomplish, what he is trying to accomplish in Phoenix, which is be the unquestioned leader or unquestioned best player on a team that hadn't won a title and go lead them to a title, even if you are not the traditional leader. I do think when we are, I have heard people call him, one of the 10 or 12 greatest players ever. He is not that. Is he one of the 20 greatest players ever? Unquestionably. Is he in the top 15? It's close. him, Giannis, Moses, Dr. J. You pick your 2 favorites and you have guys who are in the top 15. But he has that one box left unchecked. So I do think there is pressure in that regard. I don't think there's pressure as in this regard. Like, oh, if they don't win, it's a failure by him, because I don't think this team is great. I think Bradley Beal, it's going to be very interesting seeing if Bradley Beal can adjust. You're right, Chris Bosh and Kevin Love both adjusted to far different roles, but they were also bigs, and they were also deferring because of LeBron James. That's a different situation. The other question for Phoenix is this: is their best, is moving forward, is Devin Booker better than Kevin Durant? I know a lot of people think that. I do not think that yet. I don't think the other teams around the league, with how they guard Durant, think that yet. But if Booker takes another leap and then Durant's your second best guy, that could be a formula. I just don't think this team has enough depth or defense. And I think Durant is now once again chosen to go somewhere that maybe in a year or so he's going to wish he hadn't. But because of the new collective bargaining agreement, it is going to be very difficult to trade him now that they've done the Bradley Beal trade.
So I got into a discussion with a friend, smart friend, never been a fan of LeBron. And there's a lot of different reasons for it. And I said one of the differences was when Michael Jordan came into the league, the best player was arguably ever Kareem. And he was stoic and prickly and not very likable. Michael was handsome, the smile, the earring, the dress, the dynamic game. He came from Carolina. He'd won a title. And Nike built the most formidable campaign ever. There was a lot to like about him, right? Big city, Chicago, Chicago, Midwest. And so he never had to replace a likable all-time great. He was easier to like. He stayed out of politics. LeBron's gotten into politics. He's now threatening the guy we fell in love with, Michael. And so when Mike Malone takes a shot at LeBron, there's this sense that why is he so polarizing? And I think a huge component to it is LeBron is threatening the basketball player that mostly, along with Magic, brought us back to loving this sport. And it's not all on LeBron. It's the reality of replacing a legend, a beloved legend. Am I wrong on that?
No, I think that's a really smart point. I just don't understand why Michael Malone or other people around the league continue to try to take this guy down. When you brought up a moment ago, Tiger and Phil, even if other golfers had issues with Tiger Woods, they didn't voice them. You know why? He made them all richer.
Yeah.
LeBron James has been in the league for 20 years. He has never demanded a trade. He has never asked out of a contract. He has been a historically giving teammate on and off the court. He has been a leader in the community off the court. And he has made all of these guys millions of dollars. And when 8 years ago, when LeBron was a 2-time champion, a 4-time MVP, already one of the 10 greatest players ever, and nobody gave a damn about Michael Malone, and he got fired in Sacramento, LeBron went out of his way to talk about what a mistake that was, how the Kings didn't realize what a great coach they had. So I don't mind Michael Malone having a few too many pops at the parade and them taking shots at those of us that doubted them and all that stuff. But Michael Malone going on a YouTube show and making fun of LeBron James, to what end? What are you achieving there?
Yeah.
And I'm not asking other players to be deferential to LeBron, but there needs to be some self-awareness that this guy has made everyone's life in the NBA better, except for people trying to win championships during his era. I guess 4 of those years he's made it worse. And there is a level of jealousy or anger that it's gone on this long, when I think it should be appreciation, because he is still making people money and he is still leading by example.
So Michael Jordan sold the Hornets, made a fortune. Michael's been very good at business, from his shoe deals You know, I know I can
Oh
see.
yeah, listen, Colin. A lot of it was very unique that someone bought a pro sports team 20 years ago and made a profit. I mean, I read stories left and right. Yeah, I mean, a guy sold the Arizona Cardinals. He's now on unemployment. Another guy, I mean, it's financially ruinous for many people, but a brilliant businessman like Jordan can make a profit from selling a pro sports team. But go ahead, I interrupted. I'm sorry.
It's a very good point. How, I mean, Michael, baseball didn't work. The Wizards didn't work. The GM thing didn't work. He's great at basketball, great at selling shoes, and those are qualities. I mean, there's a lot about Michael I like. How do you view him now as the Charlotte GM owner mess? Does it ding the legacy to you?
Okay, so I would like to do a couple things. One is this. Everyone must acknowledge, if they are being honest, that when Jordan took over the Hornets 15 years ago, he turned them into a dynasty, people would use it as evidence of his greatness. Can we all at least agree to that?
Yes.
That if they were awesome, they'd be like, oh, look at him, Jay. Everything he touches turns to gold. Instead, his ownership tenure of the Hornets was identical to his playing tenure when Scottie Pippen wasn't his teammate. 0 postseason series victories. He won 3 games at least as a Hornets GM and owner in the playoffs, as opposed to only 1 as a player. But here's my problem. If we would like to judge the greatest player ever purely by, we will evaluate from the day you first set foot on a court to the day you leave the NBA, I'm good with that. But that's never been what it's been for Michael. Michael's had, in some way, because of all the acolytes and sycophants, the best of all worlds. Do we count the entire career? Of course not. He's 6 for 6, not 6 for 15. Do we count the Wizards years? No, those didn't happen. Do we even count the entire championship run? Well, the years he won we count, but not those middle 2 years. Was he retired both of those years? No, he actually came back, got MVP votes, but then lost in the playoffs, so therefore it doesn't count. Okay, kind of weird, but so be it. But then we also do this, and you just did it in talking about him, and I'm not picking on you. Everyone knows that when they have encountered someone who is, a Jordan true believer, at some point in the argument, you know what gets brought up? Man, look at the shoes. LeBron's shoes will never sell as well as this. Look at the iconography. Look at he made the shaved head cool. He made Nike went from losing to Converse. That's always been part of the story. That's all. The legend of Jordan has been more than the playing career.
Yeah.
The sneakers and the mystique and the aura have been a piece of it. So if that's the case, then being the worst owner in the league for 15 years has to matter a little bit, like a tiny bit. It's like, you took over a team in Washington and they were terrible and the players hated you and drafted the wrong guy. You then bought a team in Charlotte and they were literally the worst team in the league over the entirety of your tenure. But Nick, he made $1 billion on the sale. Everybody does. A guy named David Glass owned my Royals. Bought him for $70 million, sold him for $1 billion. You know why? That's how sports work in America. Yeah. It's not because he was some great owner. So I would like, Colin, for the GOAT conversation to just be start of career to end of career. But with Jordan, we remove years that hurt him and we add sneaker sales and make movies about it. So then, I think it's not like owning a race car team like he does. You owned a basketball team, you did terrible. Can it count a little bit? Can it count 1%? I think it should.
I think it should too. Look, he's all dressed up with somewhere to go. He's doing First Things First today, special time, 2 Eastern. You look fantastic. And as always.
Thank you. J-Mac, don't let him wiggle out of that UFC invite. Hold his feet to the fire. Colin, I'm on to this trick by Colin. I've had this done to me. You be careful, buddy.
There's a warning, cautionary tale of business with Colin. There's Nick Wright. Good stuff.